Hey, so hello everyone, and thank you for joining another Foreman community demo. I'm Nafar, I'm an active developer within the Foreman project, and I'll be hosting today's demo. As usual, we have some updates to share with you and some new things we've been working on to share as well. For any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us at the Foreman group chat on Metrics, or during the demo, you can also use the chat here on Google Meet. Hey, for our agenda for today, we have a few community updates, and then we have Maximilian from Docs with latest news, Shim with intro for the RH Cloud plugin, and lastly, Ian with some new container images page updates. Yeah, so for the community update, I'd like to highlight an upcoming community meetup, the Foreman AI. It will take place in Brno on November 27th. And the event will feature presentations, Q&A sessions, and social opportunities, both AI related and Foreman or Catella topics are welcome. So if you want to give a talk, this is the place. So some sessions will be hybrid or recorded, but we encourage people, if it's possible, to attend in person. And yeah, and registration details are shared on the community forum. I will share the link in the post and also here in the chat after I'm finished. And for the config management camp and FOSDEM conferences, I would just like to remind everyone the call for presenters are still open. So if you'd like to submit a topic, go ahead and do that. Yeah, and that was all from me. So we can move on to Maximilian.
Yeah, thanks. Let me share my screen. I brought you this scary pumpkin, and I also brought you some pre-Halloween documentation updates, but nothing too scary, I would say. I am gonna present some of the changes on behalf of everybody, so all the contributors and maintainers and everybody that tested stuff for us. Thank you. First change that I want to highlight is the provisioning hosts guide. We restructured it quite heavily, actually. We split various user workflows into smaller sections. So for example, one about preparing the networking, preparing provisioning content, preparing the client platforms, and preparing templates. And as a small example, I want to show one of these sections, the preparing provisioning content. In the Catella scenario, it's basically, it depends on your client operating system, but for enterprise Linux, you can synchronize kickstart trees and then use that to provision hosts. For Debian and Ubuntu, you can either use the upstream repositories, or in the Ubuntu case, you can do offline provisioning based on ISO images and extracted images. And yeah, you can, depending on your use case, you can go check it out later. I also want to highlight these three new sections. So they are now split by provisioning method. Yeah, and something I also want to show, you can see it on this page. So first we have the report issue. I think it was mentioned already, but it's a great way to specifically let us know about issues in documentation if that ever comes up. Then the next item is about OpenSCAP content. So we added documentation on how to import OpenSCAP content for non-RHEL clients. The new documentation also focuses on automation. So yeah, especially using Hammer is really great for quicker testing. For Alma Linux and Rocky Linux, you can install the SCAP security guide RPM package via package manager, and then extract the necessary XML files from there. And for all other operating systems, so for example, Ubuntu, you can download an archive from the GitHub compliance as code organization, and then extract that and basically extract the proper file and then upload it into your Foreman instance. So yeah, one addition for non-RHEL clients, basically. And it's part of the Managing Security Compliance guide. The other change I want to highlight is the abstracts. So you might have seen this already here. This is a small change for the build documentation. So you can see the small blue line next to the abstract. We are currently in the process of adding this to all modules. So you can have a quick glance, and the abstract basically tells you, or should tell you, whether you want to continue following the procedure. And then another story that we're currently working on is splitting documentation by user story. So we are often quite eager to document not only the web UI, but also Hammer CLI. It's really great for testing, for trying it out, for making something reproducible. But from a user perspective, you rarely follow the same procedure twice, once via browser and once via command line. So we are in the process of splitting this, and I just picked one random example. It's the configuring a bonded interface. So you can see in the navigation on the left, we have one procedure for using the Foreman web UI and one procedure for the Hammer CLI. And a small addition to that, a benefit mostly for maintainers and contributors. If you search for the anchor, so for the part of the URL, and if you just leave out the last sections of the web UI part in this example, it's a really, really neat way to find the relevant code. So in here, I have checked out the Foreman documentation repository, and I get immediately the place where the anchor comes from. So this is this module. And I also immediately see, because we're quite strict with our conventions, I can also immediately find the corresponding module with the same input. So that's quite neat, I would say. And then as a bonus, but I'm not going to go into that too much, recovering from corrupted content, we've added a new documentation on how to use the web UI. It was previously only documented for Hammer CLI, and for republishing metadata, it was the other way around. It was documented for the web UI, and we've added instructions how to use Hammer CLI. That would be it. But I'm sure you can, if you're interested, find it in the build documentation. That's from my side. Thanks, and back to you.
Thanks, Maximilian. It's great to see. Next up, we have Shim introducing the RH Cloud plugin. So Shim, whenever you're ready.
Hello. Let me share my screen. Okay, that should be visible. Is it readable? Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. So I won't take that long to talk about RH Cloud, although we can talk for a while about it if I see a good interest in this, I'll do a deep dive. Please let me know if you're interested in a deep dive on this plugin. Now, after all those disclaimers, RH Cloud plugin, it's a nice plugin that actually connects satellite to satellite. It's the downstream name of Foreman to the cloud services that Red Hat gives if you manage RHEL subscriptions. So on the cloud, we have, let me show one example of it. So we have the advisor feature where Red Hat actually publishes recommendations about things that are set up wrong on your RHEL hosts. In this demo, I have actually changed the passwords file to be accessible to everyone, and the system is yelling at me that it's wrong. So this is kind of things that this system actually knows how to detect and tell about. There are quite a lot of rules, and I think it's quite useful. So the RH Cloud plugin actually enables us to see this same information natively in our Foreman instance. This is a Foreman instance. It is flavored for downstream UI, but in the upstream Foreman, you will see the same thing. It's just a matter of my own setup. It was easier for me to show it this way. So we can see in my machine that it has a single recommendation. We can go and see all the available recommendations. They are synced from the cloud. So and there is a task that actually does it once a day. And the nice thing I can do is select the recommendation and rededicate it. It will create a job invocation, as always, and we will see it remediated, and I will show you that the file actually changes the and the permissions. So this one works with the cloud. So as you can see, it's console.red.com, and it downloads the information from there. And then when something appears or changes, we will need to upload things back to the cloud. But overall, it works, as we can see now. This is my machine. If I'll do this, we can see that the password already changed. So now I can run the Insights client again. It will upload the new state to the cloud. And by the end of the process, I'll sync. Just for the demo, I want to speed things up. Otherwise, I will have to wait for the automatic sync. But now I can resync the recommendations, and I will see that this recommendation actually goes away, which means that the cloud acknowledged that we have fixed the issue. So this is the cloud part. Besides the cloud work, we introduced lately a new feature where all of those services, not all of them, specifically the advisor and the vulnerabilities services, are running locally on the Foreman machine. This Foreman is actually configured to run everything locally. So this one doesn't go to the cloud, doesn't report to anyone. Everything is done inside the same machine. We can see that we have 0 recommendations on the machine. If I do the same trick and change the passwd, right, run insights client, we will see that it will change pretty much immediately on the satellite machine, because again, everything runs locally. And as you can see, the recommendation, we already have one recommendation. We can go to recommendations page. It looks a bit nicer than the previous one. We can see a lot of information about this recommendation. And as in the previous case, we can also remediate this recommendation. And let's go to the hosts. And run remediate. So it will, again, generate a regular remote execution job with Ansible playbook under the hood, and it will actually remediate the issue. So while it's working, I can also show you the vulnerability. This one is about CVEs, so it scans the packages that are installed on RHEL machines and sees if there are known vulnerabilities on those machines. We can see that in this case, my machine is vulnerable to this CVE. We can see, since I'm looking at all vulnerabilities, we can also see that a single host is affected by it. We can click on it and we will go to the host details page and see the same information. And the same goes here. We can actually, so we still don't have the ability to remediate vulnerabilities automatically, but we are quite close to it. We can copy the CVE ID, and if we go to content errata and search by CVE, sorry, maybe to remove it. Okay, this one is not working as I would expect it to, but we can actually search by CVE, and it will show us the errata, and then we can apply the errata on the machine, just as we did always with Capella. Okay, this is the shortest demo I could think about the RH Cloud plugin. If you have more questions, please let me know. And that's it for me. Yeah, go ahead, Jan.
Hey, are there plans for integrating further with Catello's errata ability there to make that kind of errata application seamless, or do you think there might be another approach?
As always with timelines, there is a plan. We don't really know when we will be able to actually do that, but yes, we want to do the same process that I have actually presented right now, of copying the CVE ID, looking for errata for the same CVE, and then applying that errata. So we want to do this automatically. There is no reason to actually do so much clicks.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing that comes to mind is I know the processes for calculating the CVEs are a bit disjointed from the errata applicability process. So it might be an opportunity for us to make some of those feedback loops tighter so users don't see an overlap, because sometimes unless they run a DNF command or upload that profile, they're going to have to wait for the 4-hour check-in period from RHS insert D to get applicability regenerated. And then they might see that kind of difference in CVEs and applicable errata. But it's something that we want to improve generally. So it might be a case for us to prioritize that.
Yes, and we already have with the local Reddit Lightspeed ability, we already have each time the host changes the packages, like DNF installs something, we notify the local CVE engine to recalculate the CVEs. So it means that when you install a package, automatically the CVEs are flowing into the CVE database, and you will either see new CVEs or you will see the CVEs actually reduced as the packages update.
Perfect. So that lag between applicability generation and that process should be quite small, ideally, especially if it's going through a package installation. That's good.
Yeah, Maximilian?
Yeah, thanks for presenting. One question about the part that runs offline. You mentioned
Yes.
2 services, I believe. I didn't quite get the second one. The first one was the advisor.
First one is the advisor, and the second one is the vulnerability, the CVEs.
Okay, and do they run on Foreman Catalog itself on this host?
Yes, they run on the same host. Under the hood, it's containers. It's a ton of containers that run on the same machine. They run as services actually. You can systemctl start and stop them and so on.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I don't see any more questions. So thanks again for the intro, and I hope that in the next few demos we'll see more on RH Cloud. There is a lot more to see. Yeah, we can move on to our last topic for today. Ian, it's from you. Progress on your container images page whenever you're ready.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I'll get my screen shared here. So I'm going to be showing a very much in progress view of our updated container UI. So before I even show this, let's talk about the old one, and I'll also give some context. So our old container UI was quite sparse. It runs on old Angular, like a lot of our older UI does. And we need to get rid of that and move to React. Mostly, well, A, it looks outdated, but B, the old Angular is just some horrible technical debt that we need to get out. So this is one of the pages that we are converting for the upcoming releases. Now, this old page that I'm showing here, it doesn't show a ton of information. You can click into some of these and you get a bit of info about repositories and lifecycle environments and all that stuff. But you really only see basic information like the digest. Now, what we'd like to do is we'd like to provide an experience that's closer, if not better, than what you see on like Quay, for example. More data about these images that you have synced in your container registry. Now, there's also the image mode experience that we have to consider. So this page that we're currently designing, it counts for both. It shows bootc related container images and also container images that you have synced. So the idea here is you have 2 tabs. For any container image that a image mode machine is running, you'll see them all here. And now I only have one, which makes it kind of hard to see like the best benefit of this page. However, what's really nice here is you'll see all the images of your machines that are running, and then within it, you'll see their different digests. And the idea here is that if you have many digests, for one image and tag, that means that your environment has a lot of drift and that you need to let these machines reboot to get onto the latest manifest that's part of that tag. Because the fun thing about container content is that it can be retagged, the tags move on, but your machines that are running on the old tags are stale, essentially. Now this page lives today under content, but we're currently integrating it with the other container images. And so we have the synced tab. Now this is a pull request that is, as far as I know, in a draft state, very, very early, but I just wanted to show it because it displays where we're going with this. So you'll be able to see images here. The page is based on tags, and then you have all the repository type filtering that you'd expect. So if you want to do something like repository equals busybox, we can search that here, and then we'll just see the busybox ones. And now when you expand this, you see your tag, the digest of the manifest list, and then you can see the manifest inside and check out their digests. So that's already a win from the old page because you would just see basic information about the tags here and nothing really about the lists. If you want to see manifest list info today, you would have to go to the repo itself. Now this page, there's even more information that we'd like to stuff in here. I mean, today we've got the manifest digest. We're showing if it's a type or sorry, if it's a list or if it's an image. And then eventually we'll also be able to show labels with a little modal that you click here. But there's a lot of other info we can show that Quay shows as well. Things like architecture, the compressed size of the image, if it's a flat pack or if it's a bootable image, and any hosts that are using this image as their bootable container image as well. We could have a host count, and we're already tracking this in the back end. We're just not displaying it yet. We could have a host count. So for example, in my page here, this is showing images that aren't necessarily synced. This is just showing that the hosts are running. But we do track if you are actually having these hosts consume from the Catella registry, we'll link that up and you'll be able to show that. Like right now, you can see I'm using the Red Hat registry, but I could be using Catella, of course. And there's a lot of places we can go with this in the future. I would really like at some point, for example, for Catella to show container vulnerability information like Quay does. Since container security is very important. There's also, since in the older days when you couldn't push content to Catella, you would sync it. And so you could kind of rely on the upstream registry to provide that vulnerability information. Like if you're pulling from Quay, you'll be able to look in Quay, okay, there's these vulnerabilities, let me sync it. Now that you're pushing content in here, you're not relying on any other registry. It's only the Catella registry that you have to rely on. And so there's not another source that you'll see the vulnerability info unless you also push it to Quay, for example, or I don't know, spin up your own vulnerability service. So that's a place I hope we can go in the future. And we would also be able to show it right here on this page. So yeah, look out for more information, more pull requests, building this page up. If anyone has any comments, the PR is available on Catella. Heck, you can even try it out. Help us drive where the future of this container images page is going. The more feedback, the better. And yeah, that's really all I had. Are there any questions?
Looks like everything's clear. So thanks, Ian. Yeah, and that was all for today. So the next demo is on November 20th. If there are no more questions, I would like to thank everyone for joining and for our great team. Thanks for sharing your work with us today. Yes, see you all next time. Thank you.